William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare died nearly 400 years ago. He lived in a very different world, but the characters he created and the stories he told are still very famous today. We know very little about Shakespeare's life. He was born in 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon. His father was a glove maker and a successful businessman. We think that William attended the local grammar school. When he was 18, he married a farmer's daughter, Anne Hathaway, who was 26. They had 3 children, Susanna, and twins, Judith and Hamlet. Hamlet died when he was a child. Shakespeare left Stratford in 1585. 7 years later, he was in London. Nobody knows what happened in this period of time. But in 1592, he was already famous as an actor and playwright. He earned good money doing that because he bought New Place, one of the biggest houses in Stratford. He returned to live permanently in Stratford in 1610, and he continued to write plays until his retirement in 1614. The most fascinating fact of Shakespeare's life is that during his working years, he wrote a lot, 2 plays a year. During that time, he also worked as an actor, lived partly in Stratford and partly in London. He was a theatre director. He was co-owner of the Globe Theatre, wrote several important poems and a large number of sonnets, conducted a family life and a social life, and read lots of books. He was extremely active. Shakespeare died on his 52nd birthday in 1616. We do not know the cause of his death, but we know that in his last days he suffered from a fever. Shakespeare was buried on 25th of April 1616 in Holy Trinity Church in Stratford. The plays. We know of 39 plays by William Shakespeare. His plays are traditionally divided into the 3 categories: comedies, histories, and tragedies. Some of the most famous comedies are The Merchant of Venice, A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Taming of the Shrew. Some of the most famous historical plays are Antony and Cleopatra, Julius Caesar, Richard III, and Henry V. Some of the most famous tragedies are Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, and Othello. Hamlet. Written in 1601, it is set in Denmark, at Elsinore Castle. It is the tragedy of revenge. The ghost of Hamlet's father appeared and told Hamlet that he was murdered by his brother, Claudius, Hamlet's uncle. Hamlet was shocked to know this, and he promised to revenge his father. Claudius took the throne and married Hamlet's mother, Gertrude, on the same day of his father's funeral. Hamlet started to behave as if he was mad and rejected his fiancée, Ophelia. A group of traveling actors came to Elsinore, and Hamlet wanted to test his uncle's guilt. He asked the players to perform a scene like the murder of his father to see Claudius's reaction. When the moment arrived, Claudius, upset, jumped up and left the theatre. Hamlet was sure that Claudius was guilty. Hamlet went to talk to his mother in her bedroom. Polonius, Ophelia's father and Claudius's counselor, was hidden behind a curtain to spy on Hamlet. Hamlet heard a noise and believed that it was the king. He took his sword and stabbed through the curtain, killing Polonius. For this crime, he was immediately sent to England. In a letter, Claudius asked the King of England to kill Hamlet because he was afraid of Hamlet. After her father's death, and after Hamlet left her, Ophelia went mad with desperation and drowned in a river. Her brother Laertes was very sad and angry. Claudius convinced him that Hamlet was responsible for his father's and sister's deaths. Hamlet didn't reach England. He survived to a pirate's attack to his ship and returned to Denmark. He arrived in Elsinore during Ophelia's funeral. He was desperate. Claudius used Laertes' desire for revenge to kill Hamlet. He organized a fencing match between Laertes and Hamlet and decided to poison Laertes' blade to be sure that Hamlet could die when wounded. As a second plan, the king also decided to poison a goblet of wine, which Hamlet had to drink in case of victory. At the castle, the match between Hamlet and Laertes took place. Hamlet was winning. The king offered him wine, but he didn't want to drink. Instead, Gertrude took a drink from the goblet and was killed by the poison. Laertes wounded Hamlet, but Hamlet didn't die immediately. Laertes was cut by his own sword. He revealed to Hamlet that Claudius was responsible for the queen's death. Then he died from the poison. So Hamlet stabbed Claudius with the poisoned sword and forced him to drink the rest of the wine. Claudius died, and Hamlet died too. At this moment, a Norwegian prince named Fortinbras entered with ambassadors from England. He was astonished to see the entire royal family dead on the floor. He took power of the kingdom and ordered a funeral as a hero for Hamlet. Romeo and Juliet. In Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare created a world of violence and conflict in which two young people fall in love and die because of that love. This play is set in Verona. Two families, the Montagues and the Capulets, hated each other. A Montague boy, Romeo, fell in love with a Capulet girl, Juliet. The families disapproved this love, so Romeo and Juliet got married in secret. Romeo killed one of the Capulets in a duel, so he had to escape from Verona. Juliet's father promised her to another man. The only way in which Juliet could avoid this marriage was to take a potion that apparently killed her. The priest who married Romeo and Juliet helped her. The plan was to send a message to Romeo and inform him to come and take her away 2 days later, when she had to wake up from the effect of the potion. But Romeo didn't get the letter. Someone informed him that Juliet was dead instead. He returned to Verona with a very strong potion and drank it when he saw her in her tomb, killing himself. And when Juliet woke up, she took Romeo's dagger and committed suicide too.